Hey, what's up everybody, this is Muse24, and today I'm going to take a look at the Age of Ultron Companion. This is a little tie-in thing for the Age of Ultron storyline, and deals with a bunch of the stories that weren't prominent enough to make it into the main Age of Ultron collection, but are still canon to the Age of Ultron storyline. There's also the Age of Ultron What If collection, which is just a bunch of alternate takes and weird spin-off stuff from the Age of Ultron stuff that isn't really canon, it's just extra timelines that they created just for a scenario of what if this happened instead. So this is a decently thick collection. It's probably about as thick as the Thanos Imperative, maybe a little bit thinner than that, but definitely not nearly as thick as the main Age of Ultron collection, or at least the one that I have. This is the US release. The Age of Ultron, the main collection that I have, is actually the UK release because I ordered it through Amazon and they sent me the one from some UK distributor, which is fine. The US release of the standard Age of Ultron I don't like as much as the UK one, so I'm kind of glad that I got that one. It's not that it's a bad collection, it's just that the paper is a lot more thin, and the binding is a lot more skinny. I mean, it's not quite as skinny as this, but it's pretty close. And for anyone who saw my Age of Ultron Companion, you'll know that that thing's like 3 times as thick as this almost. So for them to condense it down to that much, I don't know. I don't know how well that will hold up over time. But for this, I think it's fine for the Companion. I like the artwork they chose for the front of this. I think it's simple. It does well, showing off Ultron and all that. This was, I don't remember if this was a cover for one of the individual issues or if it's just like promo art or whatever, but I still like the Age of Ultron symbol up there with all the binary code and stuff, making up the symbol. I think that's really cool. Along the back here, you have some artwork of the Fantastic Four with a bunch of Age of Ultron drones there in space, and the thing about all these stories is that they're not really connected to one another other than the fact that they're all from the Age of Ultron storyline, but you get a bunch of different perspectives of what happened prior to and after after Ultron took over the world. So it's kind of cool to see it from very different perspectives, different settings than what we get in the main Age of Ultron storyline, because that's very much self-contained to the core team of heroes that are left. So here's like the opening little artwork there. And the first story that they deal with is actually Black Widow's. So they show in the main Age of Ultron storyline that her eye is all messed up and that she's got some scars there, but she's still in one piece. This is basically the story of how that comes to be. This is when the West Coast gets hit and basically just goes down in a blaze of glory really fast. So this is all about Black Widow and her trying to keep as many people safe as she can during this, sudden onslaught by Ultron's drones. The second story that we get actually deals with all the UK Marvel heroes, who I know have had a sort of return to the spotlight recently. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, also joins the fight with them. So that's kind of cool. There's a few really weird pop culture references in this particular issue to like Doctor Who and a couple other British entertainment bits, which were just kind of out there and I didn't expect them, but Marvel does that sometimes where they'll make like music and movie references and stuff that just throw you for a little bit of a loop. But it was cool. Those are probably my 2 favorite stories in this collection. I'll be honest, they're right off the bat they're my 2 favorite ones because they're more focused on a small group and small events. The other ones get a little bit big for their boots at times, for lack of a better term, and they're not bad. But the third story we have with the Fantastic Four in space there, and sort of a dual perspective. You have it through both the main Fantastic Four team, and then sort of a message being relayed back to Reed and Susan's kids, and them sort of like left wondering what's going on Earth, and that sort of sets up for what's going to happen in the main Age of Ultron storyline. Then you have a Superior Spider-Man, which I don't honestly know much about Superior Spider-Man other than it's Dr. Octopus having control over Spider-Man's body. I think this is an alternate timeline because Peter Parker's in the Age of Ultron storyline, so why there would be another Spider-Man being controlled by Dr. Octopus, I don't understand how that one fits in, to be honest. But I also haven't looked at like the greater timeline for all of this stuff, but all the other heroes seem to be wearing their same outfits from the Age of Ultron storyline in that little part. So I don't know for sure. Then we have a story dealing with Victor Manja, I believe is his name. He's like an android, kind of like Vision, created by Ultron, and this one has a little bit different art style to it, which is pretty cool. A lot more bright colors and rounded edges for some of the Ultron drones and stuff. But that one's a decent enough story too. I think it works because it's so focused on a small group of people and their sort of attempt to survive in this new apocalyptic setting. And then we have a little side story about Wolverine and Sue Storm. And again, I don't know if this is in the main Age of Ultron universe or this is an alternate version where there's like a spin-off, variation on the events that happen. It doesn't truthfully go very far. That one's just kind of boring. It's one of those things where like they get sidetracked briefly and then that's about it. It's not really that interesting of a story, which is a little unfortunate. And then we have a couple stories that have characters that I'm truthfully not as familiar with. We have some of the characters in Latveria, and we have the Kang Dynasty and some time travel stuff going on with, I believe they call him Colonel America in this one. Like it's an alternate version of Captain America. And he's got an eye patch and stuff. So it's he also meets up with a couple of the X-Men there. It's interesting for the sake of being something different and being a little bit more dark and gritty, which Age of Ultron is to begin with, but like that particular storyline. But it's also one that I feel like I need way more context for, and they just don't give me as much. The Latveria one's a little bit easier to jump into, but it's weird that those ones are at the end. I feel like they should have, I don't know, ended it with a little bit more of a bang than they did. Because the last story that we do get in this collection is actually the or the epilogue bit from the main Age of Ultron collection that I had about Hank Pym and his childhood and sort of his early days as a scientist, his creating the Ant-Man shrinking serum and all that, and then eventually creating Ultron. Then we do have some different bits of artwork in the back here. Some Iron Man armors there. Pym and Ultron behind him. Some black and white art and some early color of the different panels. And then advertisements for other Avengers stuff and whatnot. So while I do like that little epilogue, I think it's great, it seems out of place here. I like the way they put it in the UK version better, where it's at the very, it's like a bookend sort of a thing. Because if they hadn't had that there, I felt like Age of Ultron would have just sort of ended very abruptly. Whereas having that there is sort of like a bookends finale, which is great. I think that works really well for the main storyline. The US release of Age of Ultron, I mentioned in my review of my main Age of Ultron storyline that it feels like there's something missing at the beginning. And there was one issue that I had read where it's like, there's a little precursor to when they're waking up when they're waking up Ultron and they think that he's a space knight, but they're like, oh crap, what did we do? That's in the US release. So I like the fact that that's at the beginning of the US release version better, but I don't like the fact that they took the epilogue and put it in the Age of Ultron Companion. Obviously it's going to push more units on both sides that way, but I think just in terms of making it a better collection and better story overall, they should have taken that epilogue and put it in the US version. So my recommendation would be to get the UK collection for the main Age of Ultron stuff. Even without that little prologue bit, it's still, I think, the superior version to the US release of the main Age of Ultron stuff. But if you want some side stories and stuff, this companion's not bad. It's relatively cheap to find it online, and like I said, the first two stories are really well done. Those are easily my favorite in this collection. The Victor Mancha story is not bad. The Latveria story's alright, and there's a couple other stories in there too where it's like, they're good, but I feel like there's more that they need to provide in terms of context for what's going on, especially like the where and the when of everything. Because I'm pretty sure not all of these are in the main Age of Ultron storyline. I think some of these are alternate Age of Ultron stuff. It's like Superior Spider-Man, which makes me a little curious as to why they weren't in the What If collection. But maybe it's because Superior Spider-Man's still a big thing right now that they're trying to push, so they put it in this one. I'm not sure entirely, but I like the varying art styles in this. I like the different perspectives of narration. I think it's really cool that they went ahead and did something like this, because a lot of times with the like the big collections for these crossover events, you just get the main thing. So I think it's good that Marvel started pushing more towards the companions and the spin-off collections for people who want to have the more full-rounded experience. Because Age of Ultron, truth be told, is one of my favorite crossover events that I've ever read. I think it's fantastic. So that's pretty much it for this review, and with that, I will see you guys next time.